Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to an SP Reviews where today we have ourselves a track by an act and Solr titled Limbo off of their album The Doppler Effect. And if we switch over to here, we have ourselves a track on the screen and we're going to listen through it from start till finish and we're going to hear what we think. We've also got lyrics here, which is great, so let's go, let's do it.
The devil came to me today,
straight
and this
into
is
it.
what he said.
Cool.
I see you're always searching for a place to lay your head. Your God's abandoned you. How can he see his child fret being uncertain when you worshiped him and to him you're in debt? See, I would never do that. I can make your problem solved. I own everything that really makes the world revolve. Imagine being wealthy, social status will evolve. And can you fathom all the women that'll love to see you ball?
I mean, like, it's fantastic to have that interesting, simple guitar melody on top of that bass line. The drums, that industrial kind of overtone there, the hip-hop kind of, like, intonations. It's just great, man.
An opportunity to leave behind the
Let it kind of fade out here is good.
Forever, and I'll never leave you. You could be immune to things like poverty. Just promise me here truthfully to give your soul to me and bring me others, and then you'll be king. Two people on my shoulders while I'm stuck here down in limbo. I've had optimistic visions that I've seen blow out the window. I'm approaching fork road and still don't know which way to turn. Struggle here, reward is bliss, temporary fortune, eternal burn.
Okay, so basically the song is about talking about all the good things you're going to get in the short term, but then realizing that they're very hollow, and in the end you're basically going to burn eternally for it, you know. It's being stuck in limbo and not really knowing the right way to go, quote unquote. It's nice to go into that head voice there to get the clean vocals as a foil to what's going on with the rapping in the verses. I like that contrast.
My son, I'd never leave you. All I did was give you choice to overcome temptations and to keep my name rejoiced. The devil tries to take away my children with his voice and offers wealth and other evils. That's just temporary joy. See, when you're on the road without hydration and you get right up to the river, you'll be tempted for a sip, but it's contaminated, so instantly you'll be quenched. But aftermath of drinking from the dirty river leaves you sick. That's exactly how this is, and I promise you, I'm sure the earth is like a filter, leave behind what isn't pure. It takes time, but keep in mind the reason why you're on a search. Just keep me with you, you'll be fine. Save you a place for after earth.
It's great. I like the difference in the percussion tones there in the latter half of that first section before the hook. I think it's great to a bit more sort of sizzle to it. There's a really nice sub-bass resonance there. Now I'm using different headphones than I usually do, so these are very unforgiving in regards to like the tone of a song. If there's an issue with it, it's going to be pretty blatant, but I'm liking the sound of this so far. I think that the production's pretty solid.
My shoulders while I'm stuck here down in limbo. I've had optimistic visions that I've seen blow out the window. I'm approaching fork road and still don't know which way to turn. Struggle here, reward is bliss, temporary fortune, eternal burn.
I mean, I like the fact that we've got the more sort of like goodwill option there, the favorable holy option there with the alternative to getting that, you know, immediate satisfaction, avoiding that temptation there, but the limbo of not being sure which to go with because you're not really sure, like, how to cope with the indecision there.
Purgatory is the place that fosters all humanity. Fence between heaven and hell, I'm having trouble balancing. Naturally, where flaws are trying to be good is challenging, especially when you have entertainment as your talent tree. Path is all a choice and everybody picks a legion. We're told that either party will be victors all in the end. Some go up, some go down, but everybody has their reason. And it's not an easy choice, but we will meet at killing season. They say the devil owns the world and that is ran by greed, but I believe they're everywhere, consist of energy. We also have compassion, want to help people in need. We feel accomplished, it is nonsense to think bad is all we seek. Still it's crazy as a man to be the part of conversation or argument over your soul between a God and Satan. I'm struggling inside my head right now, so please be patient. I just hope to see my friends and family at end of payment.
I mean, it's really great to have that sense of urgency to his vocal performance, so you can tell that he's really kind of struggling with the situation. He's struggling inside his head. He's just asking for a bit of patience there. I'm liking as well how in between these halves of the verse, we have some like floatiness there without the percussion, some synth pads, etc. with the guitar melodies very somber as they are. And then the fingered like electric bass comes in with the drums and it's all go, dude.
People on my shoulders while I'm stuck here down in limbo.
Interesting composition.
Optimistic moments that I've seen blow out the window. I'm approaching fork and road and still don't know which way to turn. Struggle here, reward is bliss, temporary fortune, eternal burn.
It's a satisfying song. I'm actually quite happy with it. It's good. Because this is the conclusion of my review of this track Limbo from Solr off of their The Doppler Effect album. What do I think this track is about? I think it's about someone who's in a position in their life where, again, they've got the easy out, the instant satisfaction, but then they've also got the alternative, which is, no, I can be a better person than this. I don't need to resort to those extremes to get what I want. I don't have to give in to that temptation. It's about trying to find it's about not falling into like the idea of, oh, everyone's terrible, so therefore I might as well be the same. There's no point in trying to be good. It's about trying to find a higher purpose and being a better version of who you are and doing the best you can just to, whilst you're an imperfect being. I think that's a beautiful thing to write a song about. Like it's a very wholesome track actually. It's very honest and it's authentic and it seems genuine. And I think that Solr, both on the rapped parts and the vocals, we had solid head and chest voice. I'm really happy with the performance, as well as the rap parts where all the words came through clearly. We had interesting phrasing of the various lines there. We knew to keep the syllable count similar in order to have a similar kind of flow there. We also tried not to have it too similar so that it would just become sort of redundant for the listener if they weren't paying close enough attention to the story that was being told. I think there was a great balance again between those elements there. I think the clean vocals harmonized well within the mix. And in general, I think that the storytelling seems sincere and authentic, and I'm really happy with how it was done. So the vocals were good. The track at 3 minutes 16, I think that's a really good effort to get it all that within that amount of time, because I think we had like 3 verses, or at least 2 verses and an interlude. I think that's a great use of time within a track. We had very little intro core there, coming in with those vocals like that, the rapping parts to have the clean parts and the hook sections, and we had a great sort of A-B structure going on there between those. But also, it's about the culmination of the bass parts, the guitars, the drums, the synths, all those other wonderful elements there, as well as some interesting sort of kind of interesting sounds in the hook section at the end of, as I could call in response with those lines there in the second half. We had some interesting sounds and tones and textures here. Like the guitar melodies were clean. They had a sort of an airiness to them that was almost like it was being revolving around your own head, different thoughts. The bass line was nice and tight and punchy, and that made it itself known in the mix. The drums were great. They weren't too overpowering or overbearing. They came in when they needed to and they slapped. I'm really happy with that. And I think that they were a sometimes thing, which was great. If you have drums all the time, they can sometimes lose their groove, if that makes sense at all. But yeah, no, good stuff. I think in addition to this, any other sort of like synth pads or any sort of like elements there were a nice sort of foil to fill a background and make it nice and round sounding. And again, those sort of kind of percussive textures were great. We didn't just have the same loudness the entire time. We had variations in how loud things were, how many instruments were present, which made the track more interesting, compelling from just a pure listening perspective. There was change there with the energy levels. There were variations with the chord progressions as well. Like I think the second half of the hook with the bass line and how that flew was different to the first. I think that was awesome because too often people will just copy and paste the same line 4 times and call it a day, and we didn't have that here. It was awesome. I think just finally the theme itself was somber, a little bit sad sounding with those arpeggios and overall harmonies, but at the same time it was reflective and almost like we're using some suspended sort of like triads there to kind of have a little bit of like a neutrality in the ether there, as if we were in a bad place, but we wanted to find a sense of peace and calm. And that was the best amount of positive we could be about the situation. So all in all, I think the theme, the instrumentation makes sense with the vocals and the story, and I think overall it's very good. I mean, finally, the recording, mixing, and mastering, the studio production is solid. I'm really stoked with how it sounded in general. Again, these are the first time I'm using these headphones, and they are known for being particularly brutal if something isn't mixed and mastered right, and I think in general it sounded great. The vocals were nice and present in the mix. There might have been a little bit of tuning in some of like the chorus parts, but that's okay. The rap parts were clean and effective, and I'm glad that we had the storytelling from both sides. The guitars were nicely panned on the sides and had a great sort of airiness to them. The bass nice and tight in that mid-range there, or mid to low range, and the drums were kind of side-chaining in a little bit without being too overbearing. Everything else in the mid to high range is sparkled and glistened, and I like the space and the use of the stereo field to surround ourselves with the music. There were no weird resonant frequencies in the frequency spectrum, which I appreciate as well, so that was done. The leveling in general was really good. There was dynamic range, as I mentioned earlier, and also I think the track was nice and loud without pumping, so limiting compression was done well. I mean, this is effectively a very positive review. You know, a really great first impression to Solr stuff with the track Limbo off of the Doppler effect. Their most recent albums, I understand. I hopefully enjoyed it. If you did, please go show them some love via their various social medias and their Spotify page, and stay cool and stay safe. And please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And I will catch you in the next review. Spiderhands out.